Welcome to part 2, guys, and as promised I'm gonna elaborate have an elaborate tutorial on the animations in CSS3. Right, this tutorial may be so big that it may spill over to 3 parts as well. Let's see. Right, let me show you the assets folder. Now we have a clock image. It's a PNG image. Okay, we have another pendulum PNG image. Okay, the size of which is, let's see, 86,180. Then this is the HTML file, HTML CSS file, because the CSS is actually embedded, and then this is a duplicate of the original file. Since I'm not going to be touching the original file, I'm going to be messing around with a duplicate of that. So in that way, if something goes wrong, I still have the original code intact. In fact, this is already open in the browser here. Okay, so we see a never-ending animation, right? And it's also open in Sublime Text 3, which is my preferred code editor. Righto. Okay, as I said, the let's discuss the HTML first. So we have 2 divisions that you can actually see out here. Let me increase the size, with the red borders. So these red borders are there only for the testing purpose. In fact, we don't need these red borders around the 2 divisions, the clock division and the pendulum division, where the clock and pendulums actually serve as IDs. You can actually see the HTML code div with an ID of clock and div with an ID of pendulum. Both these divisions have an image of the clock and the pendulum that we have just seen in the assets folder. Okay, through the width and the height attributes, I am actually constraining the size of the width of the image to 400/450. Okay, and through the CSS, I'm actually constraining the size of the division to the size of the image, 400/450. You can actually see out here, right? But since we don't need the borders around both the division, see, this box shadow was also for the testing purpose. We don't need it. It's doing nothing actually. While I was testing the code, maybe I just bought it in for some reason. We need to delete this, so a delete out here and a delete out here for the pendulum division as well. Let's see how this actually affects the browser preview. Only the border is gonna disappear, guys. Everything else just is the same. All right, now guys, let's discuss after the width, the height for the top division, clock division. Why did I actually mention the margin as 0 in auto? If I remove this, let's say Control X and save it, go back to the browser, and if I refresh, you can actually see that to center my top division, I need to keep it 0 for the top and bottom, left for auto for the left and right, and hence I can actually center it. Left for auto for the left and right. Auto means automatic for the left and right margins. This is the way I actually center a division. Okay, fine. And for the bottom division, which is with an idea of hashtag pendulum, why did I actually keep the margin as -6 for the top, auto for the left and right? You know why I have actually kept it as auto? To center it up, right? But why -6 out there? Bottom is 0, but why -6 for the top? If I just keep it 0, let's say, okay, what will happen? See, if keep noticing this area, I'm gonna refresh it. See, it actually goes down. To pull the bottom image up, I need to keep it at -6. See, if it was, let's say, a -60 px, let's see what happens. It'll get pulled up even further. This is a technique, margin and minus. See, it gets pulled up even further, but 6 works fine. So we're gonna go with 6, and this is the perfect positioning of the pendulum needle. Righto, that's the reason we actually needed it. And again, auto is needed. If I remove auto, you know what's gonna happen? Something bizarre. See, we need auto for centering a division, so auto needs to come back. So that's it. Right, so that's as far as the area of the top and the bottom division goes. That's as far as the margin actually for the top and bottom divisions go. But the real magic is out here in lines 18, 19, 20, 21 is where I actually use the animations pendulum 1, pendulum 2, pendulum 3, pendulum 4. These are the name of the animations, followed by duration of the animation, followed by delay of the animation, followed by animation timing function. What is animation timing function? Basically, when an animation actually happens, it may be slow in the initial state, then it actually hastens up, or it hastens up initially and then slows down towards the end. So basically, the time progression chart or graph that happens is the easing or the animation timing function. It has several values. Let me explain that. Give me a sec, guys. The animation timing function can have several values, ease being the default, linear, ease in, ease out, and cubic Bezier, even steps that they have not mentioned out here. It's this property specifies the speed curve of the animation. How does the animation progress with time? Ease is the default, which is a slow start, then becomes faster, then a little slow again. This is also the default. As I said, linear is constant from start to end, never changing. Ease in specifies that you have a slow start. Ease out specifies that you have a slow end, like you break up. Ease in out specifies an animation with a slow start as well as a slow end, and cubic Bezier is something complex. Something that you can create from using this website. It's see, I'm going to show you a preview. With cubic Bezier, you can have odd values like this, 0.13, 0.87, 0.82, etc. You can actually create your own custom easings or animation timing functions through this. You got a tool, an assist to do that. You can create funny timing functions, custom timing functions through cubic-Bezier. Right, so this is the website to come and do that. So you have a progression and a time chart that gets created out here and captured through these values that you can save and use in your project. Ease is the default, then you have linear, not changing, ease in, ease out that we have already discussed. Right, so let's go back. Okay, so these are the 4 magic lines. So you have 4 animations stated out here by the name pendulum 1, 2, 3, and 4. You state them out here, but you define them a little later, which I have defined out here in lines 30, 35, 39, etc. Right? It's complex. It's complex initially. You have the hiccups initially. It gets a little tricky initially. The syntax may slip your mind. You need to keep telling yourself, keep reminding yourself of the different long and short end properties. You need to practice a lot. Practice is what makes you perfect. Right? It's just not hockey. It's everywhere. So practice makes perfect. So animation name out here, animation duration followed by the animation weight, technically called animation dash delay. Then you have animation timing function with values ease in, ease out, cubic Bezier with 4 values, and steps with 2 values, sometimes even 1 value. Right. So these 4 animations, namely pendulum 1, 2, 3, and 4, have been defined a little later out here. So this is the from state, this is the to state. This 0 and 100% these are the 2 keyframes. So this is the syntax, guys. @ dash webkit dash to support Chrome and Safari. Keyframes, name of the animation, define the animation. The definition happens out here in 4 lines. Definition of pendulum 1 animation. Right. Then this is where you actually define animation 2, animation 3, animation 4. This is the complex work. This is the hard work. Now guys, what I'm gonna do is to explain. As I said, we'll be a little elaborate in part 2, and I can actually clearly see that I need to hit part 3 as well. This is gonna spill over to part 3. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go animation by animation. I'm gonna remove the last 3 animations, Control X, highlight and remove them. That's it. So I just have line 18 left with animation pendulum 1. Since now the comma separated other animations, pendulum 1, pendulum 2, 3 and 4 have gone. We just have pendulum 1 remaining. Even though pendulum 2, 3 and 4 have been defined a little later out here, it doesn't actually work because it's disappeared from here. So if this original statement where the animation property is actually defined in either long and a shorthand is removed, even though they may be defined a little later, it does not make any sense. So only pendulum 1 is actually gonna work with duration 1 seconds, delay 1 seconds. The duration delay order needs to be followed properly, and the timing function. The direction is normal. It can be alternate, can be reverse, it can be alternate dash reverse 2, the direction that is. Iteration count, since we have not mentioned, is by default 1. So let's see if only one animation had to be played out, how it actually works. Save it, go back to the browser, and actually this is the browser preview. I'm sorry. So let's see how this. So we have a 30-degree swing and bam, back to the original state. I'll do it again. See, 30-degree swing and back, bam, that's it. Okay. And if I need to hasten the animation, what do you think I should be doing? Obviously, in fact, let's leave it at that. Let's get the other 3 animations back. This time what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the last 2, like so. I'm going to keep only 2 animations lined up, one after the other, pendulum 1, pendulum 2. With durations 1 second, 1 second delay, ease out as the timing function. Pendulum 2 with 2 seconds duration, 2 seconds delay, ease in out. So slow in the end, slow in the beginning. Alternate, that means point A to B, B to A, A to B, B to A. We can't have it normal, or we can't have it reverse, we can't have it anything else. I'll tell you what forwards actually does. And 6 is the iteration count. Right, so let's see how this actually affects the animations. Even though the animations pendulum 3 and 4 have been defined a little later using the dash upkit dash keyframes rule, this is the way you actually defined it. Using the either to and from states or 0 and 100% states, from and to states, I'm sorry. This 0 and 100% could very well be 0%, 25%, 50%, 100%, or could be 0%, 10%, 20%, 30%, 40%, so on and so forth, right? So you can have several states for the keyframes. Keyframes are points in time, right? So now that I just have 2 animations playing out, lined one after the other, named pendulum 1, pendulum 2, let's see how this actually affects the animation. So a refresh. So it'll be swinging alternate 6 times and then it'll stop. But it's not been reset. Okay, had the 6 been a higher value, it would have swung even. It would have swung more times, right? See, as I said, this is the animation duration. If I need to hasten up the animation, obviously I need to drop it to, let's say, if I drop it to, let's say, 1 second, let's see what happens. The second animation, that is the pendulum 2 animation. So this is the first animation, and then you can see it's actually swinging even faster. If I go back and if I change this to, let's say, a 0.5, that should be an acceptable value, I think. Let's see, does it actually double up on speed? The first animation happens at normal speed, and the second animation is a lot faster. You can actually see. Let's say this is the iteration count 6. If I turn it to, let's say, a 12, all right, and let's see what happens. So first animation at normal speed, then further animations faster, and instead of 6 we have 12. Right. Let's go back. I hope everything is clear right now. This is the animation fill mode. Had I not used it, this is the as I said, this is important. Animation fill mode kicks just before or after the animation. I'm not going to get very deep into it, but I'm still going to explain it. Okay, let's see what happens. So initial, then we have 12 swings. After the 12 swings, see, it gets reset. If I don't use forwards, the animation will get reset. We don't want that, and hence I would want to go with forwards. You can have backwards and both as, and even none as some other values, but in our case we needed to have it forwards. So where it actually ends, that's forwards. At that point where it ends, we want it to end there, not be reset back to square one. Right, so I hope I'm actually making things clear. Okay, so right now what I've done is I brought all the values back to where they actually belong. Right, let's save it up, and now I'm going to talk about the transform origin. Very important. Instead of, let's say, center top, let's say if it was center bottom, what would happen? This is for the pendulum, right? So if I go back, so no, this is center top for the pendulum division, so it affects the division. Now this point should have gone down out here. Is the origin around which the center of gravity, as you call it, around which the axis around which the animation actually happens. Let's see how this gets affected. Do you see that? Oh, it got all messed up. Obviously, see. So this center top was so important. I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna change it back to center top. In fact, this tutorial has already gone into 17-18 minutes odd. I'm gonna stop out here, and please do join me in the third part, which I hope can be the last one. Let's see. So see you then. I hope everything's clear so far.